All right, ready to dive deep into YouTube.
Always.
But we're not talking about just, you know, funny animal compilations this time. We're going way beyond
Deeper.
deeper.
Exact into the serious stuff.
Yeah, like how YouTube's changing the way we learn, build communities, even careers.
Big impact.
Huge.
Definitely.
And our guide for this deep dive is this article from careerguide.com. Importance of YouTube in today's worlds.
Catchy title.
Right. So first things first, YouTube's reach is insane. It's like one of the most popular websites globally.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And the content, so diverse, you can find literally anything.
Anything. Which brings us to this whole idea of YouTube as a community builder. The article really emphasizes that.
It's fascinating, isn't it? People connecting over shared passions, no matter where they are.
Actually, your tribe, but online.
Exactly.
And even more interesting is how it's changing the learning landscape.
Right. You don't need a fancy degree to be an expert anymore.
Like students are creating content, teaching others,
Right.
flipping the whole traditional education model on its head.
It's democratizing knowledge, for sure.
And that leads us to, well, learning new skills on YouTube.
Massive, that is.
The article highlights how anyone can learn from experts or just passionate people. Like imagine learning English, coding,
Even how to fix a computer.
all from your couch.
It's mind-blowing when you think about it, the potential impact on skill development, lifelong learning.
It's huge. What skill have you always wanted to learn? Maybe YouTube's the place to start.
I'm always learning new stuff on there.
Me too. Okay, so we've got community, learning, and then there's this whole concept of content with like longevity. The article says content on YouTube never dies.
Powerful statement.
Right.
It makes you think about knowledge preservation, accessibility,
Yeah,
compared to, say, fleeting social media posts.
exactly. Your ideas could reach people years from now.
Your legacy right there.
It is.
Ah.
Okay, now for the big one. Making a living on YouTube.
Ah, the dream.
Right. And the article talks about how even youngsters have earned millions.
It's definitely possible, but it's important to remember it takes serious dedication, work.
It's not just about making a funny video and going viral.
No, it's a business.
Absolutely. And the article makes that clear.
It's inspiring, but also important to be realistic.
Right. Success on YouTube requires more than just, creativity,
Strategy, consistency,
understanding your audience.
adapting to the platform's changes.
So while the dream is enticing, it's not for the faint of heart.
Definitely not.
Okay, so we've established YouTube is way more than just entertainment. But there's a biggie we haven't talked about yet. The legal side of things, specifically copyright.
Ah, yes, that's important.
The article mentions YouTube's super strict copyright policies, like uploading a movie without permission is a no-go.
Definitely a no-go.
But then there's this fair use thing, which is
A bit tricky.
tricky, like where's the line?
Yeah, it can be a gray area.
So the article recommends creators really study YouTube's guidelines.
And maybe even get legal advice if they're unsure.
Better safe than sorry. Especially if you've put a lot of work into your content.
Definitely.
And what happens if someone thinks their copyrighted stuff's been used illegally?
Well, the article talks about a process for filing copyright claims.
So there are protections in place.
Absolutely.
It's about finding that balance.
Promoting creativity while respecting intellectual property.
So it's a two-way street. Copyright holders got to be vigilant. Creators got to be responsible.
Well said.
All right, we've covered a lot, but there's still so much more to explore. After a short break, we'll be back to dive deeper into specific examples of how YouTube is changing the world one video at a time.
Welcome back. Ready for more YouTube deep dive?
I am, yeah.
Okay, great. Let's jump right in. So one thing that stood out in the article, the idea of YouTube channels as a way of building community.
Right, like creating your own little corner of the internet.
Exactly. You pick a theme, curate videos, and boom, you've got this hub for people with shared interests.
I've definitely found some awesome communities that way.
Me too. Whether it's like cooking, gaming, whatever, these channels become spaces to connect, learn, even collaborate.
It's a whole different level of interaction.
For sure. And for creators, building a channel, it's like building a legacy.
That's a good point. It goes back to that idea of YouTube content, having that long lifespan. What you make today could still be impacting people years from now.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
Okay, and speaking of impact, let's talk about skill development.
Oh, yeah, huge.
The article really highlights how YouTube's become this incredible platform for learning.
Anything and everything, it seems like.
I mean, I learned to change a tire by watching a YouTube video.
Wow, that's impressive.
I know, right?
Right.
It makes you wonder, How is this impacting traditional education?
Right, good question. I think it's pushing schools and universities to adapt, incorporate more online video, but also it's empowering individuals to take charge of their learning.
Learning at your own pace, on your own term.
Exactly.
It's like this parallel education system, more personalized, more accessible.
Totally. And it's not just individuals. Think about businesses and organizations too.
Yeah, they're using YouTube for everything these days.
Marketing, training employees, customer support, you name it.
It's become this essential tool.
Absolutely. And then there's this trend of YouTube as a career launchpad. The article talks about individuals, even teenagers, building careers as creators, influencers.
It's inspiring to see people creating their own opportunities, especially those who might not have access to traditional paths. But it also makes me wonder if it creates new challenges.
You're right, that's a really good point. It's not all sunshine and roses. There's definitely pressure. The need to constantly produce content, engage with your audience, stay ahead of the trends.
It sounds pretty demanding.
It is. And then there's the whole monetization aspect. Creators need to understand how to make their channel sustainable, advertising, sponsorships, all that.
So it's not just about creativity. You need business sense, too.
Exactly. And of course, we can't forget ethical considerations. Like the article mentions, YouTube has a responsibility to moderate content, address misinformation, hate speech.
Yeah, it's a tricky balance. Promoting free expression while keeping the platform safe makes you realize the power and responsibility YouTube has.
For sure. But beyond all the serious stuff, let's not forget, YouTube is also just plain fun.
Oh, absolutely. The article even says it kills boredom. And it's true. Who hasn't spent hours watching funny videos?
Guilty as charged. I love those rabbit holes.
Me too. And the variety is amazing. No matter what you're into, there's something for you.
It's like this endless buffet of entertainment and information.
Okay, but on a serious note, we do have to be mindful of how much time we spend on YouTube.
Right. Finding that balance is important.
So we've talked about communities, learning, careers, even entertainment.
We've also touched on some challenges and ethical considerations.
And now, for the grand finale, the future of YouTube.
I'm excited for this one.
Me too. So after a short break, we'll be back to discuss how things like virtual reality and artificial intelligence might shape YouTube's future. Okay, so YouTube's already huge, but what about the future?
Right. The article hints at some really wild possibilities.
Especially with, all this new tech coming out, VR, AI, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, things could get really interesting.
So VR first, how could that change things?
Imagine, instead of just watching a tutorial on your screen, you're actually immersed in a virtual environment.
Oh, wow, like actually doing it.
Exactly. Learning to cook in a virtual kitchen alongside a famous chef.
That would be so cool.
Or practicing a language like in a simulated cafe in Paris.
Whoa.
It could take learning to a whole new level.
Okay, and what about AI? How could that impact YouTube?
Well, think about AI-powered tools that help creators make better videos, maybe even generate content automatically.
Automatically.
It's possible. AI could analyze trends, suggest topics, even help with editing, special effects, all that.
So it could make creating videos easier for people who aren't, like tech wizards.
Exactly, but it also raises questions about, well, human creativity.
Right. If machines can make content, what does that mean for us?
It's a big question for sure.
And it's not just about creating videos, right? AI could also change how we watch videos.
Absolutely. Think about personalized recommendations. AI could suggest videos based on your interests, your learning style, even your mood.
So YouTube could become even more addictive.
Potentially, yeah.
Okay, so we've got all this potential for innovation, personalization, but are there any downsides?
Well, there are always ethical concerns with new tech.
Like what?
AI bias, for example, or the spread of misinformation. If AI is generating content, how do we know it's accurate?
That's a good point. So we need to be careful with how we develop and use AI.
Definitely. It's a conversation we need to have as a society.
But ultimately, I think the future of YouTube comes down to the people.
The creators, the community, you're right.
It's their passion, their creativity that makes YouTube special.
And the article really emphasizes that YouTube is only going to grow even more in the coming years.
It's hard to imagine a world without it now.
I know, right? And who knows what the future holds?
Maybe we'll be attending virtual concerts on YouTube or learning new skills in immersive VR environments.
It's exciting to think about.
Yeah, the possibilities are endless.
So the next time you open YouTube, remember, you're not just watching a video, you're stepping into a world of possibilities.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Well, this has been an amazing deep dive. Thanks for joining me. It's been really insightful.
It's been a pleasure. I always love talking about YouTube.
And to all our listeners, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep exploring, keep creating, and keep connecting.